So who is ready for a discount code and a giveaway? Hello, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations. Well, from the Cozy Crow now is what I am here on YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out if that's a great fit for me. Anyway, I am Emily Crow from the Cozy Crow and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is episode 42 of the Crochet and Knitting podcast. And I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a different one. I'm really excited. I've got a couple finished objects to share with you, things that I've been knitting and crocheting on, a couple works in progress, as well as a giveaway and a discount code to share with you all from a pattern that I test knit for a friend. And I also have a lot of fun personal life stuff to share too, which I haven't done in a while, as well as quite a few yarn goodies to share. So a little bit different of a makeup to this month's podcast. So let's get right into it. All right, we'll start off with our first finished object, which is in fact the Skagit Valley shawl that I tested for my friend Ashley of Goose and Ghost Knits. This yarn is beautiful. It's by Yarnacious Fibers. It's Great Basin Spring, which was her show colorway from Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair last year. So it was really fun that I got to work it up and use it. So pretty with these pinks and creams, all the like purple and green and a couple random other colors speckled in too. So pretty. This texture is really, really pretty. I don't know how well you can see that. These cluster stitches were really fun to do and something totally new compared to what I've done in my knitting before. So that was really fun. And of course, a cute picot edging. This pattern, the Skagit Valley shawl, is perfect for a sock set or a full 100-gram skein of fingering weight yarn with a 20-gram mini. You could definitely experiment a lot with this, but it was intended for a sock set, which is really cool. I think that there should be more patterns designed with sock sets in mind, especially that are not socks. So that was really fun. And it's honestly a really great size for having just like a lightweight shawl, more for like fashion and accessorizing than for like being really cozy and thick, like some of my bigger shawls I have hanging up on my wall. And so this was really perfect, and it's perfect for this color scheme of the sock set, perfect melding of the design and the yarn, I feel like. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I am, however, not used to using up 100% of a 100-gram skein of fingering weight yarn because I'm used to knitting a lot of socks. And so it felt a little long once it was getting towards the end because I really needed to use up my whole skein, and I don't usually do that, but it is satisfying to be able to use it up completely and be totally done with it. And so that feels really good. And I've already worn this. I wore it to the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair this year, which happened over the weekend. And I'll talk more about that in my life section. And I have a vlog that's coming really, really soon that honestly probably already came out by the time this video will get posted because I just finished editing that video. So make sure to check out that vlog. I'll link it up above and down below if you want to see how the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair looked this year. I had a lot of fun, honestly. But anyway, so I wore this to the fair, had a grand old time, and this is the special pattern that I mentioned where there is a giveaway, there's a discount code. So I'll mention it all here. Ashley reached out to me. She's the designer behind this pattern, Goose and Ghost Knits, and she wanted to provide a discount code for all of you. So if you're interested in making this pattern, which I definitely recommend, it's a great way to use up a sock set and to make a spring/summery shawl. The code for you is CROW20, and that discount code will work all the way through the month of May. Now, it's spelled CROW20. She's got Ravelry and Etsy shops. I'll make sure to link all of those down below. If you want to be in on the giveaway, she's giving away one free pattern to one of my viewers. Let's see how to enter the giveaway. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and make a comment down below, including the word shawl, 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 as in Skagit Valley shawl. And when you do those things, you'll be entered to win this free pattern. Let's say May 24th. will be when this giveaway closes. So make sure that you make your comment and get your entry in before then. And then on May 25th, I will select a winner and I will reply to your comment on my video using this same channel. Please no scammers. I won't ask you for any personal information. I won't ask for any payment information. I won't use any other channel to contact you. I'm just going to reply to a comment and reach out to try to connect with you on Instagram or through email via this channel commenting on your comment. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Feel free to reach out to me through my email, through my Instagram. I'll leave all that contact information down below. So if you're ever not certain, you're like, is this you? Is this a scammer? Reach out to me because I don't want anyone to feel taken advantage of. And I would love to be able to gift this free pattern to someone. So when you're selected, I'll reach out to you so we can coordinate how you would get the free pattern through Ravelry, through email, etc. But that giveaway ends on the 24th. But the discount code goes through the entire month of May. So thank you so much, Ashley, for supporting my channel and for offering to do that. I'm really grateful I could test this pattern for you, and I would love to pay it forward by sharing this pattern with my viewers. I have one other finished object for this month. What happened? What happened to the month? How is it already almost May? Oh my goodness. But I was able to finish this pattern that I had been working on for a little while, and it brought me a lot of joy. It was a nice, simple vanilla sock that I was able to work on in the midst of all of our like traveling, and just things are getting busy as the weather's getting warmer, and it's harder to get things done inside the house, like knitting, when there's more to do outside the house. And I had a few very busy days this month, and so I'm glad that I got a couple things done. And the Skagit Valley shawl took me a minute to finish, and that was due, I think, in the middle of the month. So then there's this pattern. This is the vanilla socks that I was knitting on. I used Ruby and Rose's Castle by Day colorway. So cute. In the rose gold base, if you look, there's some sparkle. I can't see it on my camera. I hope you can see it a little bit. But anyway, it's all sparkle yarn. And it came with these two minis. I just wanted to do something different, so I wanted to stripe the minis at the top. I think I started off with this sock. I striped the minis because I wanted to include both colorways in the cuff. And then I did the like mauve-y rosy color for the heel. I picked the cream color for the toe, thinking that the heel would be more likely to get beat up and dirty than the toe. And then I decided I want to do exactly the opposite for the next sock. And so I alternated the colors for the cuff. I did the cream for the heel and the rosy color for the toe. So this is a really fun pair of socks. I mean, this variegated color is very fun, so I think it is fitting. And they're just fun and a little kooky. I really enjoy them. It was fun to knit up, fun to do something different, playing around with color. I don't do that super often, and I think I should do it more. I did a 60 stitch count sock, which is a little bit smaller than I have done in the past, but I think that that's a better fit for what I like to feel on my foot as far as these socks go. I do a heel flap and gusset. Ugh, man, my nose is like tingling. Ah! I do a heel flap and gusset. I guess the only thing, I think I mentioned this in my last podcast, but for the cuff, I knit in 2x2 ribbing, and then whenever I switch to color, the very first round of the new color, I would just knit around, and that kind of resolved any purl stitches so that I could then continue the 2x2 rib in the new color on the next round and not have weird jogs on the purl stitches between the colors. So it made for a really smooth transition. I've done that before. You can definitely see where my beginning of round is. There's like a little bit of a, not like a visual jog, like with how the colors go, but more of like the spacing. You can definitely tell that like this side is a little higher than this side, if that makes sense. I'm really happy with how these turned out. I need another vanilla project on the needles. I think I might want to make some shorty socks or some more journey socks. It was kind of what I'm feeling, because I keep wanting to wear hand-knit socks, but like all my socks are taller, cozier, and things are getting warmer, so I really just want something to cover the bottom of my foot. I don't need something as big, so I might do like the no-show journey style socks. because I've got lots of larger scraps that would be really good for that, especially with my self-striping yarn. That's a thought, though that definitely takes a little bit more effort to set up, but not too much effort, just a little bit. Or maybe I should start another pair of vanilla socks, or I could start a muscle burra. I have an idea for a muscle burra. Anyway, I need something stuck in it on my needles that's easy to take with me now that those socks have finished. And my other projects are just a little bit more like fiddly, and I don't want to lose the pieces as I'm wandering around out in the real world. So those are my finished objects. Let's move into my works in progress. Okay, so my first work in progress is the Surf Wax Socks by Summer Lee from her new pattern book, The Sock Project. And this is the sock, yay! I have finished a heel. I can't remember if I've completed my gusset or if I'm almost done with my gusset. I think I just barely completed it, and that's when I put it down. But I really love this texture. I love the striping on the cuff. I think that's why I did stripes on this cuff too, because I was thinking about making this pattern, but I hadn't cast it on yet. So I did stripes on that cuff, and then I decided to work this pattern and added the stripes here too. I really enjoy this texture. It's definitely got some slip stitches, but I thought it was more of like a knit together type of thing, but it's more of like playing with knits and purls and slip stitches. So it's been a nice, easy pattern to follow. I'm almost there with reading my knitting, but I'm just mostly just keeping track of the pattern so I don't accidentally do something that's not supposed to be there. I'm really happy with how it's going. This is Treehouse Knits. Oh, good. I found my tag. I was like, I cannot remember. I think it's the first Flurry sock set. I'm making that up though. Wow, I'm so smart. First Flurry sock set from Treehouse Knits, and it's in their spruce sock, which is 75-25 superwash merino and nylon blend. I'm a fan of the yarn. I'm a fan of the dyer. I'm a fan of this color. I'm a fan of this pattern. It's just been a grand old time. If you didn't know, on my Discord, I'm doing kind of like a Yarnie related book club. It's pretty casual. I don't have an end date for this book, but we're reading The Sock Project by Summer Lee and trying to knit a pattern of hers, whether it is from the book or one of her other patterns. And she's got a few free patterns, so there's definitely some accessible ways to participate in knitting her patterns or using your library for a copy of her book if you want to look through her book. But it's a read along, make along, pretty casual. I really want to read through the whole book because I don't really do that. I've got lots of pattern books and I just don't sit down and like make a point to really comb through it. And it's really fun to be able to see her voice, get some tips, see all the different patterns. There's like 20 or 25 patterns in this book, and there's a few others that have caught my eye that I may make in the future. So it's been a good experience. I definitely need to sit down and read through it more, but right now I'm through the beginning intro part and I'm into the thick of reading through the patterns. So I'm definitely skipping the actual pattern instructions, but trying to capture any tips and tricks that she shares along the way in like the paragraphs or explanations within the pattern. So I think the next bit of my reading will go faster through this section of her book. But yeah, so we're doing that. I'm hoping to finish sometime in May with both these socks and reading the book so that we can figure out another book to read, maybe something more fiction related that has knitting as a theme. We'll see. So if you want to join my Discord and join in on this read along, make along thing, if you want to stay in touch and learn more about any knitting related book club books, then you can look at my Discord link down below. I've got a mystery knit along. I did not realize it sprung on me, I guess. This next whip is one that I was anticipating, but I totally forgot when it was happening. And so I was surprised when this mystery knit along popped up in my Ravelry, and I was like, oh wait, I signed up for that. Let me take a look at that. And so I picked out my colors a few days into the knit along, but I have made some progress. This is Sarah Shira's Gnome knit along right now, and it's Gnome News is Good News. And this is her first year using self-striping yarn as one of the options for colors within the pattern, which is really exciting because I have, like I said, lots of self-striping yarn scraps. Let's see, I finished clue 1, I finished clue 2, and I did most of clue 3, but I think clue 5 has already come out. So just spoiler warning, if you don't want to see, let me show you my colors first, and then I'll let you know when I'm going to show my progress on the gnome so that you can look away if you don't want to know, or skip ahead if you don't want to hear me talk about it. So this is, I think this is Succulents by Deservista Dye Works that I'm using as color 1. This is my self-striping. Color 2, I decided to use this hot pink. And then I've got white. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Lang Yarns for the beard, hand, etc. So this is my color palette. I'm really excited about it. And let's see, right now I've got, time to skip ahead if you do not want to hear anything about this, even though I'm definitely behind. I've got 2 appendages. I don't know what kind of appendages, probably feet is my guess. There's some pearl bumps on them, which is fun. And then I've got what I think will be maybe a body or a hat. It's hard to know. That's the back. Ta-da! With the self-striping yarn, greens and pinks. So fun. So yes, I've grafted this together, which is clue 3. And there's also something else to make. I think a nose for clue 3. And then I'll move on to clue 4 where I'm picking up some stitches. So we'll see. I actually think that this is probably the body, is my guess. Yeah, my guess is that this is a body because we are already through clue 3 of, I think 5. I think that's all because I've already heard notice of the end of the make-along is happening in June, and I don't think she would mention it if it wasn't because all the clues have been given. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll keep working on that. I like making gnomes. I've got a handful over here. I have a gnome barely started from the December Advent, not last year, but in 2022 that I barely started. That's still tucked away in my whip basket. So maybe I'll get to that eventually. But I'm happy with this one, and I'm sure I'll finish by June, but I'm hoping to stay pretty up on this, so I'll be working on that more really soon. And then my last whip is one that you may have seen if you saw one of my recent vlogs where I shared Woolberry Fabric Co.'s Spring Book Society box, where we read Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers and opened 4 skeins of yarn on 4 different pages of the book. And I have a project in mind that I'm already working on, and I'm going to use every single book box for the 4 seasons, make individual granny squares using the Astrid blanket pattern by Mallory Crawl, modified Astrid blanket, and then join all of these squares together in a mix and match of all 4 seasons of the book boxes. So I have finished all my squares for the spring box. That's one of the things I worked on a lot when I was in New York visiting my family. So I have about half of them have already had all of their ends woven in and everything. So I'm making really great progress. Let me show you the different ones that I have. So I have 4 different configurations of all these colors. The order that the colors were revealed to me is color 1. I think this was like butterfly flutter or something like that. Can't remember. This one was something about like tea, like good tea has that effect on you. This one was Vera Wong's notebook, Vera's notebook, I think. I'm almost positive. And then this last color was like Vera Wong's tea house. Man, I'm so bad. Why do I not know these names? I will make sure to link it. Though, let me see. Maybe I have them here. Why did I even try to remember them? Flutter Wings. The next one. Great tea always has that effect. Vera's notebook. I got that one right. And Vera Wong's world famous tea house. So there you go. I've used up all the yarn, and towards the very end it was getting to be a little bit of a struggle, but I really didn't want to end with 7 squares of each color. I wanted to end with 8 because that seemed like a nicer number. That was silly of me. But now that I've committed to doing that, I need to make 8 of every combination for every box. I'm really happy with how these turned out. If you watched my vlog, I mentioned how I wasn't quite sure how these colors would work together. A couple of them were not my favorites. The dark red almost stood out a little bit to me, but I really do like how all these colors work together, so I'm really excited about that. Once all these ends are woven in, I'm going to start working on my winter box that I have barely started. I crocheted 1 square from each combination. I think that's all I've done. It is sitting back here. Yep, I just have 4 squares, so I definitely need to work on that. And it was fun. Crochet is fun. Crochet is quick. Crochet uses a lot of yarn. And it was just a fun like palette cleanser type of product to work on. So once this is totally done, I'll move on to my winter ones. Hopefully get all my winter ones done before the summer box comes, which, let me extrapolate. I got a box in November to open in December. I technically got a box in February to open in March, but mine came very late because it got lost in the post. I think I'll get a box in May to open in June, like mid-May to late May to open in June. So that's not too far away, actually. So hopefully I can catch up and get ahead on things so that I can like just work on the yarn as it comes to me and be ready to join, because I would hate to have squares still to do when I'm ready to join other squares. Like, it'd be nice to just finish all the squares at once, just join. And then I have one other work in progress, but I'm not sharing it with you. This is a vlog that will come out probably pretty soon after this video. I have Yarnie Fibers book club box for April. We are reading A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, which is a dark romance involving Hades and Persephone in a retelling, a modern day retelling. It's very fun. I am enjoying myself. I am about halfway through the book already, and I've started the pattern, but I don't want to ruin the yarn and I don't want to ruin what the pattern is. So if people haven't gotten that far to like have the yarn and start on the pattern, I don't want to spoil it. So make sure to watch that vlog if you want to hear more about it. And I think for the next podcast, I will show it because it will have given everyone plenty of time to work their way through the box and the book at their own pace, but I'm not showing it here. I'm keeping it a secret. So make sure to watch out for that vlog because that should be coming soon. All right, we're going to talk about some fun new yarn goodies, and you'll notice I still have a clump over here. I got quite a few things at Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, but I talk about it in that video and I don't really want to rehash it. I think you don't want to watch me rehash it again, so make sure to watch that video if you want to hear more about the projects that I have in mind, what yarn I grabbed, what makers I supported. I had a really fun time and I'm really happy with the things I got, and I'm sure I'll be casting one or two of these skeins on pretty soon here. So let's talk about the things that I did not mention in that vlog that came throughout the month. And I actually have a yarn package to open for you here on camera, which will be fun. And like I said, it's a little bit different of a podcast. So first, I'm going to share with you a little bit about things that I acquired while I was in New York visiting my family, and we'll talk more about that in the life section. So I, again, will be very brief on this because I mentioned this in my New York vlog that should be coming sometime eventually. I have not sat down to edit that yet. I have a lot of video ideas and not a lot of time for filming and editing, especially for editing. But my mom gave me this skein of Spin Cycle, which is, let's see, it's called Burning Sensation, but it's perfect Halloween colors. I love it. I think this would be great in like a colorwork hat, but I'm not quite sure what I would want to do as the contrast. Maybe like a purple. I'm just worried if I do like, definitely can't do black because there's a lot of black, but even if I do like white, it might not be super stark against it. I don't know. We'll see. But my daughter loves Halloween, and so Halloween yarn is always something I look out for. And then my mom also got me this, let's see, Freya Fine Hand Paints Soulmates sock yarn. So it's 2 ombre sock yarn cakes. They should match. You can make matching socks in this like cool teal ombre. But this will be fun to try out. I have not tried out this brand of sock yarn before, so it'll be fun as an experience. And then we went yarn shopping to a local yarn store. I got some biscotti yarn, Bissock, which is an 85-15 superwash merino and nylon. And this is called Watercolor. It's just like a really subtle, kind of makes me think of Rainbow Sherbet without the green. I know what you're saying. It's not called sherbet, it's sherbet, but it's called both. I've called it sherbet my whole life and I'm not going to change. I'm so sorry. And then I also grabbed this Lady Mint Fiber Arts Polworth DK in the color Old Blue Eyes, DK weight. Beautiful tonal, and to hold with it, I had seen this alpaca yarn, and so I really wanted to hold it with something, and this is the one that I found that was closest to it. This is the Alpaca Yarn Company Halo Watercolors, so it's a brushed Surrey alpaca in the color Mosaic, and this just makes me think of like a Monet pond, beautiful. Maybe I'll make a hat holding these two together, really letting this one shine. Not sure, we'll find out. And then let's talk about some yarn that came into my life. I'm not talking about Yarnacious Fibers from their book box because that'll be in the vlog, but that did come in the mail too since the last podcast. I also got Funny Story sock set from Red Door Fiber, and I'm so sad because when I originally ordered from Red Door for their Emily Henry collection. I ordered all Surrey so that I could like make a book blanket, and they didn't offer Surrey in this update. It was a small in-stock update, so I got the yarn super fast, and I wanted to make sure I got it. So pretty, but it won't match my other yarn, so I'll keep an eye out. If she offers this color eventually on Surrey, I'll probably buy it. If she offers the other colors again on sock, I will probably buy it so that I have a matching set of something. But it's really pretty. It's this beautiful, like, bluey purpley, like a really deep periwinkle almost. So pretty. And I love the greens in it. Ta-da! Little specks of pink too. I've not read my book yet. I went to a midnight release party. That also happened. It's just been a busy month. I don't usually do this many things. I went to a midnight release party, picked up my book, but I have some other books that I was reading that I wanted to finish first. And so hopefully I can start reading soon. I've heard great things about it though, and I love Emily Henry. Another purchase I made was Kimber Cozy Creations, and this is the Lilac Bush mini set. They're so pretty. I was thinking I might make socks out of this. I just loved all the colors together. So, so pretty. She had like a small update. When she said that on her Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find them on your store. Did they already sell out? And she's like, hold on, I haven't put them up yet. Don't worry, I'll let you know when I do. So I was able to get a set a day or two later when she actually put them up on her shop. And then this is another book-inspired yarn. This is from Woolberry Fiber Co. And this is A Truth Universally Acknowledged from Pride and Prejudice. This is the Pride and Prejudice Club, and this is the first month. It is really pretty. I do not know what I'm going to make, but I decided to do the subscription so I could get all of the sock sets. I might just make a bunch of socks. I might try to find a project to do for all of them. I don't really know, but I really love it. And I found that, at least with Woolberry Fiber Co., sometimes the colors don't translate between my phone and what comes in the mail. Like, there's definitely a difference between screens, but I feel like I'm never disappointed when I get mystery yarn, because a lot of what Woolberry Fiber Co. does is inspired by things, and it's not like a direct color inspiration, it's more of like a vibe inspiration. And so if you're looking for an artistic representation of something that you love, Woolberry Fiber Co. is a really great dyer to go to. So really excited about that. I gotta figure out what project to make. And then the only other yarn I have is one I'm gonna open right here on camera. This is Forbidden Fiber Co.'s Novel Notions. This is another book club yarn that I had recently heard about, and it is a subscription. There are lots of options. You can do 1 skein of yarn, 2 skeins of yarn. I think you can do fingering or DK. You can do buy the book, get the audiobook, or bring your own book for this book club. Someone referred me to this club, so I figured I would give it a try. We're gonna open up this yarn. I already got an email learning about what the book was, and I'm glad I didn't ask for the book because I don't know if it'll be one that I like. It's a wild card. We'll find out, but I'll tell you about it in just a second. All right. Ta-da! Ooh, this is pretty. Speaking of teal, I love the dimension. It's so pretty. This colorway is called Young Adult. So that makes me think that every month will be a different genre of book. I know that the next month is going to be fantasy. Did I hear that right? I can't even remember now, but they definitely told us what it would be, and I just wasn't paying attention because I'm doing a subscription, and so I figured I would find out eventually anyway. This is a really pretty color. It's based off of Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I didn't know that she had a young adult novel. She might have more. I think she does have a few more. So we'll be reading this. I'm glad that I didn't purchase the book already. I found it on Libby, so I can do the audiobook, and I'll let you know what I think. I'm really excited. It's fun to do these book-inspired yarns because I am a booky girly. And there is, in fact, a book club meeting that I will go to after I read the book, and there's information about that too. So that's also something I like, that there's definitely like an actual book club element. So I'm going to try it out and see how I like it. I also have a few books that I got. I do like knitting and crochet fiber arts related books, and I haven't bought a ton recently, though I do have a lot that just came in my life. I had pre-ordered long time ago this copy of Lina Magazine 52 Weeks of Socks Volume 2. It is the softcover. My first volume is softcover, so I wanted them to match. So I figured I would wait since I wasn't super anxious to start. I definitely need to still look through this and pick out some patterns that I really, really like. But I definitely know there are some names of people involved with this that I had heard about, and I don't even remember off the top of my head. But let's see if I can find any designers that I really like already. Charlotte Stone has a pattern in here. Laura Moratz, Lindsay Fowler, all names that I recognize. Let's see if there are any others. Summer Lee has a pattern in here. I don't know a lot of these names. There's lots of people outside of the US and Canada, so that's really fun. I'm excited to look through that, kind of pick out some patterns to work on, things that I would enjoy. I'm intrigued and I'm excited. I also have another sock book. I've been really wanting this for a while. Custom socks knit to fit your feet. I really want to knit short heel socks because I really enjoy the process of knitting those heels, but I've had a hard time figuring out how to get them to fit my foot, and so I'm wondering if this book will help me figure out ways to adjust so that they can fit my foot in the way that I really, really like, because heel flaps and gussets fit me better initially, but also I'm sure they're not perfect, and my feet are shaped interestingly. It's sometimes hard to find shoes that fit my foot, and so I think this would be helpful. I've heard really good things about this book. I have been eyeing it for a while, like I said, and it was on super sale, so I decided to finally throw it in my Amazon cart to get free shipping on some other things I ordered. And then I ordered these two books. Oh, this one's a little dinged on the edge because I have a plan in mind. I've got Magical Woodland Knits by Claire Garland, who has some beautiful patterns, including Froggy. I don't know what the name of the pattern actually is, but I really want to knit the Froggy. And Knitted Animal Friends by Louise Crowther. Yes, a theme. I would love to make some patterns for some amigurumi things. Something that I really want to do is have companion patterns between knitting and crochet that look very similar, but using different crafts. So whatever craft you use, you can get the look that you're going for. I did this with my shark bite socks. I have a knit pattern and a crochet pattern, and I have an idea of a pattern that I made a long time ago. I just freehanded a pattern of a horse, a unicorn thing, and I would love to be able to, with the knowledge I have now, crochet an actual pattern for that and knit a pattern very similar. So I wanted to learn more about that because I have knit zero toys. I've only crocheted amigurumi, and I've crocheted a lot of amigurumi, but I've knit zero toys. And so I wanted to knit a few things and get some more insight about the process of knitting toys and how that's different than crocheting toys. So I got a couple books to help teach me and to help expose me to that. So if you have any patterns that you highly recommend for knitted toys, let me know down below. I would love some more insight and knowledge about that so I could hopefully design a pattern to go with a crochet pattern that I've had in mind for a while. Now it's on to life stuff. I have a lot of life stuff that has happened. Let me see if I can remember it all because I don't have my notes in front of me. Who knows where the laptop is? My husband's been using a lot, so maybe it's in his workshop. I don't know. But I went to New York and I visited my family with my daughter. My husband stayed behind. He was working still. So it was just us two, and it was quite the experience. It was not nearly as tough as it could have been. I actually feel like it was really fun to go travel with my daughter, and she was really excited about it too, and we had a lot of good bonding time, which is really good. Though it was kind of hard feeling like I didn't have another adult who default could take her if I needed a break, whereas at home I do have another parent that I can rely on. And so that was a little bit tricky, but overall we had a lot of fun. I got to visit my parents and my brother. We celebrated his 20th birthday while I was there, which was, wow, I can't believe he's 20. I feel like he's still 9 years old in my brain, but he is a fully fledged adult at the moment, which is bonkers. It was really good to see my family. I got to go to the yarn store like I told you. I think it's called Have You Any Wool? It's in Amherst, New York. If I got that information wrong, I'll pop it up here because my memory is not perfect. And I'll make sure to link them down below. That's my mom's favorite yarn shop in New York. We have visited a few in our time whenever I visit, and that's the one that she prefers the most. So it's a lovely little shop. We also went to the zoo. It was a very cold and slightly rainy day, so it was like not the best experience, but we all got out there. We saw some animals, met families from Western New York near Buffalo, and the Buffalo Zoo is really interesting because it was built decades ago when zoos were a much bigger cultural thing as a cultural attraction. And so all the buildings have this really cool older style, and things have been updated since they were built, obviously, but stylistically they still fit into that like 1920s, 1930s aesthetic for like zoos that you would imagine, like an old school zoo. So that was really cool to see. And some really cool animals it was fun to go to, even though we were freezing our butts off. And my daughter dropped her Dippin' Dots like 3 times, and it was a whole thing, but we all survived. We also went to the Children's Museum in Buffalo, the Explore More Museum, and so that was really fun. It's near the waterfront area, so we got to walk around, do some exploring, go to the Children's Museum. It was a really good children's museum. I've been to a few children's museums in my time. That one was probably my favorite. Had a bunch of different stories, lots of different things, lots of really locally focused exhibits, which was really cool, like maps of Buffalo, and the play food was made to look like food that we have in Western New York and like companies that we have in Western New York. So it was really cool, very hometown vibes, which was really neat. And then the crowning event, the solar eclipse, and all of this is in my vlog that I will edit and show eventually, hopefully soon, but I am working the end of this week, so probably next week I'll be able to edit it. I've just been too busy. I've made myself too busy to edit the vlog. It'll be quick to edit. Can I share with you all the things we did on our trip to New York? But the crowning thing was the solar eclipse. This is why I planned our trip for the beginning of April, so we could be in New York for totality of the solar eclipse. I've never seen one before, so that was super, super neat. It was really cool, almost like a spiritual moment, just like moments when you're just in awe with what nature has provided and the beauty of nature. So that was really cool. It was very cloudy, and we were nervous that I flew out and was gonna miss the eclipse anyway, and it all worked out. We drove south about an hour and a half to go to Erie, Pennsylvania, and just as we were getting into Erie, right before the eclipse totality was gonna happen, the clouds cleared up. It was perfect timing, and we were able to see the solar eclipse in its totality. And so it was totally worth the drive. I'm really glad we made it work, and it was really good to spend that time with my family, but also to see the solar eclipse. It was a really good trip to see my family, and I'm really glad we could coincide it with the solar eclipse so that we could enjoy that experience, because there's not another one in North America for like 20 years, I think. So it'll be a while before I probably get a chance to see another one. So all of that was just our trip to New York. Came back, went to work like right away. Just in how my schedule worked out. I couldn't take the PTO off that I wanted, and so I had to go back to work immediately after coming back from vacation. So not my favorite, do not recommend, but we all survived that transition. I'm trying to think, I feel like there was something else I mentioned in this podcast that happened in April, but most of it happened this very last weekend. Bonkers how everything lined up. This weekend, Indie Bookstore Day, local yarn store day. I had a 5K fundraiser for burn camps for our burn survivors that I was volunteering for. My brother decided to come into town with his girlfriend, who I had never met at that point, and so I wanted to make sure that I got to spend time with them. And the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair happened that weekend too. It was like so much. And so the past few days we've just been recovering from all the things, but I'm really glad I got to do all of that. The Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, like I said, I have a vlog where I share my experience, and I definitely recommend if you're ever in the Utah area. It takes place at an event center in Farmington, Utah, so a little bit north of Salt Lake. It is like 2 buildings worth of vendors plus 1 building with classes and stuff. There's a little food truck. There's a booth space from Petite Floors and Pearls, who is a tea and yarn shop in Lehi, Utah. It was a nice all-inclusive experience. It was free. As far as I could see, it seemed pretty accessible because the booths were inside, so the floors were all paved nicely. There was space to go through the hallways. It wasn't overly crowded, but there were definitely people there, and there was a good excitement of like people enjoying the vendors. There was a wide variety of booths. Obviously, there was a lot of yarn, but there was a ton of fiber. There were rug makers. There were rug makers. There was some needle felting I saw. There was someone who made spinning wheels that were beautiful. There was some pottery. There was tons of yarn and fiber stuff, but also lots of fiber adjacent things, which was really fun. And so it was just a great experience. Sorry, someone is mowing their lawn. It's like 4 doors down, but for some reason it's very loud. I highly recommend. You can check out my video. I posted that already on my channel, I think at this point. So you can watch that and see my haul of what I grabbed and what I'm thinking of doing with it and how my experience was, because I had a great time. As far as the 5K, it went really well too. It was raining like all through that night up until we got there to help set up the race, and then it didn't really rain. It was maybe like misting barely towards the end, but it was great. We had a really good turnout and raised a lot of money for our burn camps, which is really great. And I'm happy to help out with events like that, and especially with things related to running. I don't really run now a lot. I did do quite a few races when I was in college and soon after graduation. I've done about a half a dozen half marathons, and I've done 1 full marathon. I would love to get back into running, but just don't have the energy or time at the moment. And so it's fun to help out with race events like this. It was really good to see my brother and to spend time with him and his girlfriend. I don't see my twin brother very often because he lives in Dallas. I had a good time visiting with my brother and his girlfriend. I hadn't met her in person before, and so it was just lovely to spend time with them. We got to go to a local bookstore in Salt Lake, Legendarium, which is a fantasy science fiction bookstore. I included it in my visit around a few bookstores in Salt Lake City, so if you want to watch that bookshop hop, I'll link that up above and down below. And I visited all those stores like a week or so before this indie bookstore day. And so I'm glad that I knew about the bookstore beforehand so that I could take my brother and his girlfriend because they really enjoyed it. So we went there, we enjoyed lunch together. I got to spend time with my daughter. We went to Poppy's Books, which is the independent bookstore near us, and got to enjoy some time there. My daughter was really excited to go to the bookstore, but then she didn't want to buy any books for herself. So it's okay. She's got lots of books at home, so she doesn't need any more, but neither do I. I was happy to buy a book or two for her, but she wasn't really wanting it. She just wanted to read the books and enjoy being there at Poppy's Books, which I enjoyed being there too. We got to go out to eat all together and just enjoyed playing some games and spending time together, and it was just a really good time. I did get to participate in Indie Bookstore Day a little bit, but I did not really get to participate in Local Yarn Store Day. It was just too busy, too much going on, and that is okay. That's what was available to me. Maybe next year I'll have more time, but honestly, I think that everything always just happens the same weekend. Like, for those of us that don't have a lot going on in our schedule, everything always happens at once. That's how it goes. But it was a good weekend, and I've since recovered and ready to go back to work in a couple days. I'm trying to make the most of my schedule, letting me have a few more days of rest and getting stuff done. My house is very clean now because I had my brother and his girlfriend coming, and so there's not a lot to do around the house. I can enjoy filming videos, editing, reading, knitting, all the things. So it's been a good few days. I did recently decrease my hours at work, and so that's also helping with the way that the scheduling is going, and I'm enjoying it so far, though it's still a little early to tell whether this is something long-term that I'm going to enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me for my podcast as I shared with you all the things I've been working on recently in the knitting and crochet realm and new yarn goodies that have come into my life. I really love sharing with you these things that I love about the fiber arts community and having you be a part of my community. So thank you so much for being here. Don't forget that giveaway I mentioned. Make sure to include shawl in your comment down below and that you're subscribed to me, and I'll pick a winner randomly on May 25th. So get your entries in by the end of the day on the 24th. If you're interested in purchasing the Skagit Valley shawl pattern by Ashley of Goose and Ghost Knits, make sure to use my coupon code, which is CROW20 for 20% off, which is a really generous gift from Ashley. So thank you so much, Ashley. And make sure to give her some love on her pattern and over on her socials and her Etsy shop too. She makes some awesome bags, which I love. Thank you again for joining me on this podcast. And until next time, happy making. Bye!